Our scripture has been read. John chapter 8, 31 to 36. I don't want to read it again, but you keep your eyes on it. And our theme for discussion this morning is freedom from moral bondage. Freedom from moral bondage. It's a reflection of what happened yesterday in this country. Yesterday was our Independence Day in this country. And all people were rejoicing. Every year we do this on July 4th to show our gratitude not only unto God, but unto our fellow men, especially our leaders, political leaders and otherwise, who fought in parliament, who fought in Congress, who worked with the colonial masters so that this country will be free, so that we will not be under sovereignty, so we will not take directives from another country. So we will own what is ours, and we will stand on our ground as free men. It will be upon us to decide what to do with our nation. It will be we. And so it was that on July 4th, I don't remember the year, not the year, America was free from the government of Britain. Okay, so every July 4th is a national holiday in this country. Everybody participates in rejoicing. All stores are closed, all businesses are closed, all institutions are closed for that one day. Yesterday, in fact, day before yesterday, there were several fireworks going into the air to celebrate. Yesterday evening, oh my goodness, I was getting afraid that they were coming nearer and nearer here. And the more the time went, the louder the thing became. Yeah. So I was looking out through the window. I hope we are not coming, they're not doing it in my backyard though. But when I was in Chicago, I used to attend at Navy Pier. So nowadays I don't go. I even making on mine. So I don't participate in that anymore. But it's a good day of celebration. It's a good reminder that sometime in the past, we were under another country. Sometime in the past, we were under some other authorities who directed us on what to do. I don't know if that is God's will for nations, because we know that God sent kings to Israel. But about one country colonizing another, we're not sure about that, even though Apostle Paul said it might be God's will that they be over us. But it's not in the Torah, and it is not in the Talmud, nor even in the Mishnah, which are the codes, the biblical history, the biblical codes, the laws of God that the churches are following. However, we're in the real world, and we feel the pinch and the punch of sovereignty. Let's bow our heads. Oh Lord our God, we need our presence every hour, even more as we humble ourselves to learn from thee at this moment. May thou, Lord, teach us the lesson that we can understand and help us to abide therein. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Brethren, the human race is in crisis. In the days of Jesus Christ, Jesus warned the people, even the spiritual leaders of their day, about their problem of spiritual bondage. Spiritual bondage. Can we all repeat after me? Spiritual bondage.
Spiritual bondage.
That is an adjectival clause, which means that there are other kinds of bondages. But that was already known. Spiritual bondage was not new to them. For they knew that the whole of human race had sinned against God, and they had come short of the glory of God. So, the people had to deal with the problems of faithfulness to God, the problems of unbelief that they had, the breaking of the laws of Moses, their backsliding attitude as chosen nation, their acts of unbelief, their unrighteousness in the practice of the Torah, in the practice of the Talmud, etc., etc., etc. But the entire human race has moved beyond that phase we are describing. It has moved beyond to other bankruptcies, including moral bankruptcy, economic bankruptcy, political bankruptcy, racial bankruptcy, And in fact, bankruptcy is almost everything, everywhere. Some of us may say, well, there's so much of technological development. There's so much of research and industrialization. How are we talking about bankruptcy here, bankruptcy there? We thought there was so much development going on. That is because you ain't known nothing yet. You say so because you have no idea of what God created, the universe that God created. Until God showed you something, then you know. In my village, we used to tap one tree called Aghahowa. When you tap the roots of that tree, igodo, the long extended roots, it will bring forth water. We deliberately tap also trees called Aghahowa in the bush. And we put our big a basin and a pot underneath it. So it will be full before the following morning. And we'll go and collect them, bring them home. We use that kind of water to mold our blocks, to do our sand, which we use in building our houses. Do I have a witness? Do I have a witness?
Yes.
Let me see your hand if you understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Will I be able to go?
No.
No.
Okay, somebody said no, they're not. Okay, but thank God.
I will probably.
I'm telling you the mysteries of God. There are certain trees in the bush that will give you the amount of water you need. You just wait. Go there with a big basin, and then you tap the face of the big roots, and put your basin there. But they can are you there? And the following morning you come, your pot is full of water.
Yeah.
But before you come the following morning, it has stopped dripping. It doesn't continue to drip forever. But if you tap it again, water will start again. That is the mystery. There is nothing that God has not provided for. I don't know if this is true. I saw on the internet about 3 years ago, or was it the WhatsApp? About 3 years ago, there was a tree that they punched one side of the tree, And water just gush out like a tap water. I don't know if I'm the only one seeing all these mysteries. Do I have a witness?
Yes, it's a tree. It's a tree in South Africa.
So that is God. What we have not seen, what eyes have not seen, far more than what our eyes have seen. The entire human race has moved onto the area of bankruptcy and everything. The human race is almost drowning in its own self-made wickedness, that it can no longer fathom the depth of his troubles. Today's text starts with a dialogue on identity. Usually, people, especially those in any kind of authority or position, they want to shy away from recognizing other identity of people who might threaten their own greatness. Whoever seems to come near them at the level of their thoughts, at the level of their measure or operations, they shy away. So Jesus made it clear, as the Jews followed him, he made it clear that if they were to believe in him, they are coming to learn something they have never learned before. It's got to be declared to them that there is something they need that they have never thought about. And that is the truth. Truth about life, the truth about religion, the truth about politics, the truth about everything that bothered them. Because the Jews were a race that was always in requisition, trying to find why what is happening is happening. And the Jews seized that opportunity to show their wrong concept of the truth by emphasizing that they were children of Abraham. They told Jesus, because we are children of Abraham. And Jesus said, that's good. In fact, the discussion went so far, to the point that Jesus had to tell them, even before Abraham, I am. Before your father. If you read that chapter, read it properly, onto verse 59. Read it. Jesus boldly talked to the people by saying, your father, your father, your father. So that they will get it clear that he was not of the same measure with them. Here they try to appeal to their religious heritage. Sometimes religion is used to blindfold others or to justify wrongdoings. Oh, and worse still, to accept certain unhealthy situations as being permitted by God. So some people will quote religion to hide the dubiosity of their actions. Be warned that Jesus said to them, and he says here, that every situation in this world has a rightful truth to it. It may not be the way you see it. It may not be the full picture that you are seeing. And it is only when the truth is known that freedom of judgment, freedom of action, or lasting change can be made or expected. Anything short of understanding and acceptance of the truth is unsatisfactory to the problem solving. Jesus said that he is the only one who can set people free from the slavery of sin, not religion. I'm planning to do a Bible study by taking a picture from WhatsApp. And I'm trying to mail it to all your WhatsApp. Because sometimes what we see, it portrays something different from what it really is. And most of us, from the judgment of WhatsApp commentators, I see that people are carried away with picture. The little they understand about the picture, their impression, they want to spread it around so that everybody will believe what they're saying. And I believe that as the truth of the matter. I was very sorry for myself when I found that even this morning, last night and this morning, CNN and so forth, the big news agencies of this country, they're singing with one Nigerian young man who has duped the whole world about $50 million. Do I have a witness?
Gospel peace.
Thank you. From that, some of your friends, or American friends, or whoever, might even come to ask you, hey, hello, hold on. Did you see one Nigerian fraudulent person that they caught yesterday? I used to have a neighbor who used to ask me like that. Anytime anything happened in Chicago and it concerned Nigerians, they will stop me when I'm trying to, hey, let me tell you, did you listen to the news yesterday? Did you see one Nigerian that the north side of Chicago, they caught one. They said they are going to catch many more. So one day I had to tell him, whenever you see that Nigerians are arrested or this or that, please don't even think about me. Because I don't belong to that class. In those days, I used to drive a cab. Don't you see the cab I bring here every night? Then you know what he said? He said, yes, but they said that some of them used to camouflage by driving the cab where they don't really drive it. You see? That means he suspected that I would be doing some dubiousity. What people see, they run into conclusion. Jesus said there is a truth, a deeper truth in what you see. And unless you know the truth, you cannot be free. Too many people are enslaved to picture, to propaganda, to evil thoughts, to inflammatory reports, to slander, to libels, and so on and so forth. You know what's happening in our state, in Nigeria? Before the true picture came out, you all know how people were already cursing our present governor. But thanks be to God that there are people who know the exact truth. Until that truth came out, they could not stop totalizing our governor or insulting or cursing. Oh, it is not only religion that can save. There are other truths that are deep that can save. Our topic today goes beyond the popular topic of spiritual freedom, which is the route. The spiritual freedom is the route to obtain any other freedom, as Jesus put it. In 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 7, Apostle Paul put it succinctly when he said, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is not, you can be sure that human beings project themselves, project their ideas, project their thoughts, project their minds, project their evil, project their weakness and their wickedness. As it was earlier stated on this page this afternoon, what we want to bring to God's attention, God's people's attention today, is that human bondage have for a long time gone beyond the presence of spiritual bondage to various human experiences. So these are not the days when you only try to verify and validate the problem by talking about witches and wizards. People have known that all along for centuries. No, there are far more things now that look nice, which are not nice. There are far more things that look acceptable, but they are not really acceptable. Because evil has passed the regular spiritual problems that we knew in those days. Specifically, is the issue of moral bondage. Oh, moral bondage, which is promoted by all kinds of persons in their levels of life and their levels of operations. Moral bondage. It ranges from experiences between mistress, madams, and their housekeepers or house servants. Moral bondage. It ranges even between mistresses, her madams of household, and their servants. Between marriage spouses of husband and wife, or wife and husband. Between business guru and the long list of consumers. Oh yeah? Between the politicians and the electorate. Or between the policy makers and the proletariat. Okay? Between traditional rulers and their subjects. Moral bondage. Tie them. Wherever you find them, tie them. I believe you are practicing some kind of moral bondage. And when you see people, people never enjoy life. People are never happy. People are always losing. People are always in anger. People are always in grief. People are always in supposition. Hey, most of these people are in moral bondage. And I'm happy that churches in Nigeria, they specialize on investigating moral bondages. And the more they are able to promise deliverance, upliftment, and changes in their situation, the more people go to church because they believe and they see them being delivered. People walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. They never have enough rapport to tie their waist. I have seen them. Do I have a witness? Even when I'm here in America and eating hamburger, I'm told now that somewhere in some of our villages, all those plantain, plantain, they grow very wide and they produce fruits every year. That there are some farms now, plantain farms, that they don't see plantain to harvest from them anymore. I mean, those wicked people, they have gone there to expose those plantain, and those plantain trees, they don't produce anymore. Yeah, oppression. When you when they're blaming technology on the civilization to be our troubles, don't join them. Don't join them to say it. There are too many things that we don't know. So, in whatever way it is, and at whatever level it is a fact that all over the earth, there are innumerable injuries causing painful and sometimes irreparable damages afflicted on certain persons or groups of persons in the confines of whatever dimension. Wherever the authority goes, these wicked people, wherever the authority can reach, whoever listens to them, whoever has to beg from them, whoever has to exchange something with them, whether it be at the level of family, whether it be at the level of business, whether it be at the level of institution, whether it be at the level of government, whether it be at the level of a village, they make sure that some human beings don't get what they are supposed to get. They are going what they are saying.
Change.
They make sure certain people are tied up in bondages. Hey!
Yes.
Injuries are inflicted upon people. There are serious moral injuries on people with symptoms that bring guilt upon them. Huh? Symptoms of shame, symptoms of anger, of disgust, of failures, of distress, of depression, and sometimes injuries that lead to death of persons, not from their own acts of crime or wrongdoings, but just from the fact that human society is dwelling in moral bondage. There are too many people whose ships of life, canoe of life, have been wrecked in the oceans of this world by people who operate in moral bondages. Yes, sir. While the general society may be moving on without recognizing the damages being done by these moral injuries, you may need to be warned that many of the deviant behaviors of the modern society have roots from these moral injuries. Yes, sir. Professor, you are there. Professor, Egbon, you are there. Some people who teach high school, anybody who teach in high school here, who teach in high school, I hope you don't experience what I'm going to tell you now. There are teachers in our days, in elementary school and in high schools, who thought that some students are so brilliant, so smart, that they thought they're going to be engineers and doctors and whatever they could imagine. But years later, they ask about those children when they see their relatives or their parents, and to their chagrin, they are told that those boys or those girls, they don't make it to high school or they don't make it to university. And you see those teachers, yeah, if your boy, they just by their finger. But if waking at time, they just cannot say what is in their mind. The truth is that they are so disappointed that those brilliant chaps didn't make it to anywhere. Those who would have saved Africa from poverty and impoverishment, and from backwardness, and from whatever, all kinds of bankruptcy. Many of them are in the graves. They were killed, they were injured, and their life taken away from them for one reason or another. Not because they were criminals, though, but because they shone higher and better than other children. Oh!
The reality.
These injuries, they lead to high risk, stressful situations like robberies, robberies and kidnappings and murders, high risk of failures.
Right.
No clear right or wrong choices to make in life, or a sense of harm done to other people. It just goes on and on endlessly. The inhabitants of the society in moral bondage, they cannot trust people with power, especially when they know that these people cannot do the right thing. Because from time to time, they experience harm to their plans, harm to people's lives, harm to projects. They feel that they are being betrayed. They feel that somebody is standing on their way. Somebody is blockading them. And in most cases, they are right. Oh! They feel that they are being humiliated the way other people carry on. They want to be the only one to be heard. Nobody has an idea. Oh, if anybody has an idea, they kill it. They feel frustrated because they know a lot of things. They know they can grapple with certain things and bring it to success. But there is nowhere. They don't have space. They don't have space. What are you going to say? They experience harm. They feel being betrayed, frustrated, the fear of evil contamination, and the violation of people's conscience. Quite often, you hear of certain persons who are outraged. They are outraged, so angry, outraged for unknown reasons. Persons in remorse for no apparent wrongdoing. Persons with gross loss of their self-esteem. Amen. All right, Mona. People who are in this world, don't matter. You want to be their friend. You want to lift them up. You want to provide for them. You'll be surprised that they are not ready to receive any help from you. No, they can't take it. They are so deprived of their self-esteem. Persons in disrupted relationship, very promising relationship, absolutely disrupted, broken. There are persons in self-isolation, persons who are masking their faces, to hide their inner pains so that people will not see their inner pains. And they hide under drug or alcohol. Most of those people you see in drug and alcohol, they become addicts. Let me tell you something. So how about that you hello the new life?
Yes, sir.
Do you not pass the road past? Because you ain't seen nothing. They try to avoid pain and they indulge in what will take away their pain so that they can enter a euphoria after they drink or after they smoke. So, you have persons who kill other people. They are alienated from the norm of society. And they kill other people for very little or no provocations at all. Very little or no provocation. That last week here in Chicago, maybe you saw it. I saw it in WhatsApp. I don't know if it was in Chicago though, but I think it was. Two young boys, or about 11 or whatever. There's someone tall guy, very tall. And then they ask him, you know, children that they're inquisitive, and they ask him, sir, how tall are you? That's all they ask. How tall are you? They're excited to see a very tall guy. He brought out the gun and shot both of them and killed both of them. Do I have a witness?
Wow, what's that? We didn't see that.
Thank you. So I'm not the only one already. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. But that is what we are told. Oh! See the situation we are in, brethren. Listen, America is in moral bondage. Oh! The symptoms are evident.
Nigeria is in.
That's not all. Africa is in moral bondage.
Yes.
And it has been so for centuries.
Yes, sir.
Africa has not had a chance to see the face of this world. No!
Stand up. I got to stand up. I got to stand up here.
Africa has not had a chance to see development. I'm 72 years old. And there is nothing that has been done, always a woman, always a woman. Nothing besides the church that Baptist people brought to that village, and they followed the church with a school. Nothing else. Nothing else. When the school was being built, our fathers, they went there to do the sound, and they went the sound, and they went the sound, and they built the school. The church, we are building another church now, but the one that was there before, they went there and molded the block. If you take away the community effort, nothing left. And 5 villages were attending that school. Some children come to school, we close by 2 o'clock, they start going home. They don't get home until dinner time because they have to travel about 5 miles. Africa has not had a chance for a first lift at all. No man can at a school of my minatana. There you know, Africa police. Suppose there was no school at all. I wouldn't have been able to read ABCD myself. How? Our religions, our tribes, our traditions, our cultural values, our political and economic institutions, they have all been suffering from moral injuries for centuries. For centuries. The example of the current situation in America is inscribed in people's hearts, whether we like it or not. It's inscribed in people's hearts, old and young. Nobody can erase them. That the black race, which is supposed to be an integral and permanent part of American society, is being persecuted with injuries, so much so as to the injuries of death. The black race is being almost always stigmatized, oppressed, beaten, almost annihilated, to the extent that the race itself may never be able to fathom the depths of its deprivations, because they have not even been privileged to possess the knowledge to do so. When you tell my father in the village that when he gets to Lagos, he will see the ocean, and that ocean, you can enter it and get to Oyibo country, that it might take him like a whole month to get there. If you tell my father in the village, he cannot imagine it unless he goes there himself to see the liberty, the happiness, the progress, the prosperity that our people should have made. This younger generation of black people, they cannot imagine it because they really don't have an idea about it. You tell the story, they listen, but they can't understand it. Anniversary celebrations. This is what we know and what we are used to. On July 4th, on October 1st, on March 6th, on August 13th, on August 17th, on August 15th, people from these countries, United States, Nigeria, Ghana, Central African Republic, Gabon, and the Republic of Congo, they all celebrate independence anniversaries. But many of the citizens of these and other countries, they suffer in bondage. But they celebrate. Yesterday, I just asking myself, all these people with these fireworks, but what are we celebrating? Celebrating freedom? Really? Really? Freedom. What about freedom? Which freedom? Which freedom? Political freedom is but the back of a tree. The back of a tree. It's only but the back of the spiritual tree of life. And it is only formal. Formal, because only Jesus Christ can give the sap that is inside the tree that makes the tree live, alive. Ceremonies cannot grant freedom or confer freedom. Stone walls and irons, they are not what make a prison. If your wristwatch, you place it on the table, you want it and place it on the table, that wristwatch is free. But if you tamper with any part of this wristwatch and place it on the table, it's no longer free, it's in bondage. Society has so wounded human beings. You build skyscrapers and put them there, free housing. Yes, sir. Take water from Michigan River and put it in their bedroom, so they don't have to go outside so that they can just do. Yes, sir. Use telephone to send food to them in their houses. Yes, sir. But when you are destroying your personality, you say they are free. You are a liar. You say they are free. Free from what? Frederick Douglass, one of the slaves who happened to take time to write about his own life autobiography. You know, Frederick Douglass, his name is everywhere. You will see it. It tells you that when somebody is your slave, and you know he's your slave, and he knows you're slave, even when you do good unto him, it makes him feel worse because he wonders how you are doing good unto him who is a slave when he cannot pay you back. You cannot even lift him up from where he is because he remains a slave. Give him good clothes to wear. It become ridiculous that a slave is wearing nice clothes. Here, that one. Well, when a slave has a good master, he prays and works so hard that he might have a better master. And when a slave gets a better master, he prays and works so hard that he may have the best master. And when a slave gets the best master, he prays and works so hard that he might be free. So the circle, there's no way inside it that it can be gratuitous. Oh, freedom, like God's kingdom, is within human beings, not just the environment or what you give. No. In Luke 17, verse 21, Jesus said to the people, the kingdom of God is within you. Today's text teaches us that there is a difference between knowledge and truth. But it's only truth that brings freedom, not just knowledge. So don't be surprised you will see people who are highly educated and they have big diplomas, but they are in bondage. They are in bondage. In most cases, people don't deal with the truth. They only deal with the knowledge. Therefore, they are never free at all. You see people who are highly educated, if you discuss with them, you find that they are not even better than people from your own remote village. I hope I have a witness.
Yeah.
Black Africans and Black Americans, Black Africans and Black African Americans, they may have the knowledge, but not the truth. That is why we are not free, and we cannot be free. The truth is that blacks do not belong in most of where they live. Where they have traveled in the world, they don't belong there. They are just being tolerated. Oh, they are just being allowed, but they are not accepted. I hope you all will come back to church next Sunday after I finish this sermon. Living in the place where a person is just being tolerated, it means that he or she is not accepted. And it does not belong. And there are many of us, if not all of us here, who are like that. They won't tell you. They will not tell you. God forbid, when you are removed or you travel out and so on, you didn't come back, they miss nothing. They don't miss you. In the first place, they didn't need you. Hey! What has happened in the last 1 month? I should have. So these people are like this. And I'm scared about now, I'm scared. People may be tolerated because they have proved themselves to be useful. But in reality, they are just being used. They are allowed because they can be used. Many of the black race, apart from those who were taken out by force from Africa against their own consent, many of the black race abandoned the actualization of their own real beings, their own real self, somewhere at a time and at a point. And they have pursued and acquired a dependent research knowledge. And here they are laughing. They're laughing about themselves. But they have not found their real selves, their real lives, nor its fulfillment, the fulfillment of their real lives. You would have observed that when we left Africa and came to this country or to Europe to go to school, after obtaining that knowledge and all that education and diploma, you would have observed that over 75% of us, we had to go back and learn something else that will help us to survive. The book which we read, it didn't go anywhere. Do I have a witness?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir. We found that we will not be fulfilled with that diploma. We found that our purpose of life doesn't seem to show, that we are wasting time. And as of today, most of us are wasting time. That's the truth, and you may not take it. Jesus emphatically stated, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. In John 8:32. Just hurry up. Let's come to a conclusion. For people who inflict moral injuries on other human beings in any form, your perpetration of unhealthy conditions on God's creation, you are reminded of what Frederick Douglass' statement was regarding your actions. When Douglass made his statement on July 4, 1852, in Rochester, New York, he said, and I quote, a person's conscience must stand entire, or it does not stand at all. By that, he means that a person cannot be truly bad in some circumstances and still remain good in overall. America stands for freedom and is known as a frontline nation leading the cause of individual and collective freedom all over the world. That stand of America has to be the same as it practices in its homeland. Douglas' statement has been interpreted by writers to mean that Independence Day, July 4th, offers America the best opportunity to explore the chasm between America's promises and its realities of freedom and the bondage of its Black Americans. The realities of the present killings of blacks, giving rise to international protests of Black Lives Matter. They have to be given a serious thought and lasting solutions. For Black people, especially Africans, sincere assessment and practical, pragmatic approach must be undertaken by you all promptly, again, to redeem the lost image of the Black race. Africans need to get together to cooperate with the rest Black people of the world to start necessary avenues to rescue Africa from its moral injuries. Hey! Known among many injuries of Africa, they abound. They include unstable political situations in the African countries, infiltration by other countries, people, nations, nationals, who are exploiting the lands of Africa and the resources of Africa without commensurate development. You remember Sarawiwa? So when the oil companies came and messed up the whole place and left the people with hunger and no farm could be made, no fishing pond was good, then they gave some money to the so-called leaders of the society and they destroyed the whole place. And Sarawiwa said, no, this is not acceptable. You all know the story. They killed him. They just killed him for nothing. No commensurate developments. Exploitation of Africa's natural mineral resources and the resultant toxic damages to Black people and the livestock. Also, there is a degradation of viable institutions through abuse of power and privileges, which make African populace to flee and go abroad to search for greener pastures. And the overwhelming problems of insecurity in the continent. When you come to the first world, you see that all they do in the first world, they have been practiced in Africa. Call it agriculture, call it transportation, call it infrastructure buildings, call it schools, call it church, call it banks, call it anything you want to call it. Are they not in Africa? Perpetrators of the injuries of moral bondage and destroying and pressing them until those things, they are like chaff which the wind drives away. Banks are no banks, schools are no longer schools, health institutions are no longer health institutions, council of elders no longer mean anything, parent teachers association don't mean anything again. But these are the same tools that people are using here, and it works for them. Help! Help! Africans need to champion their own causes and to stop assuming their freedom that they do not have. To whom much is given, much is expected. Africa has been given much, and much is also expected of her. It is only when you acknowledge this truth that we shall truly be free. Amen.
Amen.